everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's August 14th. It's my 25th day of fasting, and I am headed to my next destination. I have been driving since about 10 p.m. last night. Last night, I went ahead and started my drive early because it was possible that the northern lights would be visible, but it was cloudy and overcast where I was. And so I thought, well, I might as well maximize the opportunity by driving and seeing if the clouds will open up. The clouds did eventually let up, but it was just a beautiful starry night with no northern lights in any of the areas at any of the times when I was able to view the night sky. So anyway, as far as my next destination, want to kind of keep it a secret for now. That way whoever's watching can just kind of guess where I'm headed. I already hinted at what my plans are, or could be, but that's about all I want to give away for now. I hope that you're having a great day. I hope it's productive. If you've considered fasting, make sure that you have multiple ways of monitoring your health. Now, I'm not endorsing this on a medical level or anything like that, but this smartwatch has collected a lot of data that seems to correspond with what I've been observing and how I'm feeling, etc. So it might be worth considering, especially if you're going to do this on a hopefully not medically unsupervised level. That's how I'm doing it, but I really don't have a lot of faith in many of our professionals as far as their ability to relate to anything that I'm trying to express or to do. Because most people, when I tell them about the lack of wildlife, they don't really pause to think about it. When you think about it, if you look at, for an example, Glacier National Park and how long those glaciers have been and approximately how long they've got left, and combine that with the insight that if there's no glaciers and no glacial melt down those mountains, well, everything downstream is going to suffer. And that puts us in a precarious position, because if we don't really think about these convincing facts, they're not even concepts, these are facts. If we don't really think about it, then we can't consider doing something different about it. If I can go 25 days without having any food, I think anyone who has a little extra weight can probably do the same. The discomfort that we're going to experience is going to be tied to how mentally fit we are. Some people aren't even mentally fit enough to think about going on an extended fast. It's scary to go without food. What if we starve to death? I'm pretty certain that I'm not going to starve to death, because I know I've still got extra energy stored away in me. I know that because even after 25 days, I've still got a little bit of extra, to go the extra mile. So, speaking of going the extra mile, I don't know hardly anyone who can do the things that I do. I mean, I know there are professional delivery people who might drive from, for 24 hours, 36 hours straight without ever stopping to sleep. And sometimes, in my case, most often, I don't stop to eat, generally. So when I travel with other people, here, let me open this up for you. So when I travel with other people, it becomes almost like it's an episode. It's an episode of, it's a different person that I'm traveling with. However, they're doing the same things that many of us have been programmed to do. Not everyone can just stop and get up and go see the wildlife. In this case, it was a plastic milk jug that was sitting on the side of the road. I've seen so many things here in this beautiful, otherwise pristine and somewhat devoid of life, quiet forest. Anyhow, that's the primary reason why I wanted to go without food. There are a lot of different ways to express oneself. Some people take it to the extreme. This year alone, we had at least one person set fire to themselves to try and share whatever insight that they thought was beneficial to all of us. That's concerning. Anytime we want to do harm to share a message, like if we want to go to war to do harm to share a message, hey, we're in control. That sounds like bullying to me. But again, what do I know? After days of not eating, I feel a little bit more humble. I know that I can do without a lot of the things that I have constantly tried to fill my day with. And so, for that reason, again, I want to leave us with a word to think about. And that word is addiction. Many of us don't think of addiction when it comes to even just eating 3 times a day. We might think, hey, I'm eating at a healthy interval. This is what healthy people do. Healthy people don't need to wake up to the smell of folded packets of coffee grounds in their cup. Healthy people don't need to wake up to have that television on. And healthy people for sure do not need to go and grab their mobile device first thing in the morning. Everything that we do first thing in the morning can sometimes be thought about as an addiction. Some of the things are healthy habits. Brushing our teeth, going to the bathroom, cleaning up, healthy habits. But sometimes someone will need to grab a cigarette first thing in the morning. Sometimes someone will need to switch on the TV first thing in the morning. Again, these are just examples. Doesn't mean that you're an addict if that's what you're doing. That could be part of your job. Many of us think that it's part of our job to be tied in to everything that's going on. But it doesn't help us to think about all the problems globally when locally we can be actually doing something about it. So one of the things I really learned on this journey is that wherever I happen to be, that ecosystem is what I want to tend to. And that's it. Traveling to say that the ecosystems globally, or at least nationally, because that's all I've seen, are in collapse, that may not exactly spread joy. However, it might spread joy if you consider that even someone like me believes, I absolutely believe, that with all the systems and networks that we have right now, as long as we sanely work this through without just putting a bunch of people in suits in charge, we can convert all these systems to something that makes a lot more sense. And dollars. Think how much employment could skyrocket if we had jobs that suddenly were geared towards cleaning up. That one was a juice bottle, plastic juice bottle. I was going to say cleaning up all the milk bottles. You know? There's plenty of work out there. There's just not an employment sector for the work that really needs to be done right now. And as far as all the wildlife education that's going on, the first thing I've got to say is all studies should be mandatory. All studies should be in the field immediately. And then the notes that we have now should be compared to the notes of yesteryear. And maybe with people who have been to these places over the past 5 years. All the rangers that I was talking with recently, they just got here. They're here as of this season, or at the place I was at. They haven't been there long enough to know what it was like just a few years ago. They don't know that if you drove 28 miles on one stretch of road, you should see about 5 roadkills. They don't know that you should see all kinds of birds of prey hanging out, because it used to be easy to pick off wildlife in all of this area. They don't know that. They only know what animals this place is supposed to have. And even then, most people don't really pay attention to animals. They're just doing a job. Many people are just doing a job. Until you recognize that, and recognize at least that all professionals are just doing a job. They're just teaching what was taught to them by our fathers. A system that's already failed. Or at least it appears to have failed, at least as far as the ecosystems are concerned. But that's another story. I don't want to cause a lot of distress. I just want to suggest that from now on, our votes should really make sense in dollars where it actually counts. It doesn't count when we keep buying the same things. It doesn't count when we don't change anything about our basic conveniences, convenience-driven lives, and convenience-driven livelihoods. And I say that feeling like a hypocrite. Here I am driving. Look at the view that you're getting, because I got this vehicle for you, so that you could see what I was seeing. All these conveniences, they come with a price. It behooves us to take care of the things that we're producing and of one another. That was a big blue jug. I think it could have been a water jug. like one of those where you can hold 5 or 10 gallons or something like that. And it was just, right there, side of the road. Major, world-renowned place. Stuff everywhere, but not a hint of any kind of wildlife. So, 25 days in, laser focused on what I'm trying to talk about, and I've made a few songs to talk about this topic. Some people might not understand the lyrics. They might think it's a downer. It's really just the truth. And I think it would benefit all of us if we started abiding by the truth versus putting it into some system where the smarter bully wins. I guess when I think about it, I could become a bully myself, but a peaceful bully. Someone that people would dislike because I would just throw the truth back every time. Not in a hard, hit you in the head kind of fastball way, but just, here's the truth, right back at you. Some people say that what I'm saying is, what was the word? I can't really remember. It's vicious. It's not vicious. Scathing. The things I say are scathing. But you can listen to my stuff. I'm not normally saying any kind of curse words or untrue statements. So I guess the truth can hurt, but only if you're on the other side of truth. If you're on the other side of truth, you probably voted for a bully of some sort. Whether it was an old one or a young one, doesn't really matter. The bullies should not be in the mix. I don't know how else to think about it, but as far as leadership is concerned, no bully should be in the mix. That goes for parenting as well. But again, what do I know? That's what I want to share with you today on this 25th day. I'm not having any food. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a struggle than others, but generally for the majority of a day, the most I might feel is an occasional hunger. And it just goes away because it's a response. It's an automatic thing. Might even happen because I saw all those jugs. Thought about, there was a milk jug. Could have had some milk. I don't really crave milk, actually. The other day I walked through a gift shop that also happened to have a convenience store and a restaurant. I smelled some pizza. That smelled really good. But when I walked past the produce and consumer items, I don't know, drinks, there was the milk section, and I could smell the milk through all of the packaging and the refrigerator, and it didn't smell appealing at all. It smelled like something I wouldn't want to be ingesting at that time. So I know as an adult who's become accustomed to it, I know that I would have enjoyed it, or I could enjoy it. But what I'm saying is, after going without any kind of food for that long, it might even be that my taste buds start changing, and certain things that I used to just have without really thinking about it might not be appealing to me, because maybe they never were appealing to someone, and they were just kind of taught to us, again, by whatever traditions that we pretty much don't follow anymore. If you and your family got together for the last few holidays, congratulations. I can tell you that hasn't happened in my circle, and all I've got to say is that we're not actively talking about these things, and so at some point, some of the communication opportunities might come to a head by people who are not able to keep calm while they're having a conversation. And that's basically something to think about if you want to go into the era of, or the line of, being a bully politician. You have to be able to keep a sound mind, and to do that you have to be able to stay calm and not really bust into a rage, or you have to be really good at controlling your rage. So I've got kind of an advantage because I've always been in the past, I had always been an angry person, really hostile, wanting to lash out, always thinking from the most negative perspective. And then something changed. Yeah, I know how to be angry. It's a lot easier. It's real simple, actually. Just be a bully. For some people, they'll bully someone when they're gone. If someone leaves the house, they'll say, this so-and-so never wanted blah, 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 whatever. And some people will bully people only when it's one-on-one with no other witnesses. That's the kind of bully my father is. And so, for a long time, I asked my father's family to help, almost like an intervention, to participate, to show up, so that we could all have a conversation. They wouldn't do it. I couldn't understand why until after my father used methamphetamines, was in a rehab place. Then his siblings, along with my older cousin, former mayor of a small town, took my father from the rehab place, and while they had him someplace where they wouldn't disclose his location to me, they basically took his property too. His property that was willed to him by his mother and father, my grandparents. That's the house I grew up in. I grew up in a lot of places, apartments. My mom was a single mom, trying to pay the rent, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. Bonus points if you know where that line came from. But my dad didn't really help. However, my dad had parents who had a house. That probably was the most amazing thing that my dad ever got to have temporarily, till he set it on fire, because he was a little bit off on methamphetamines. While he was in this condition, people had him sign legal documents to transfer the ownership of a house. Sounds like theft, abuse of the elderly. It sounds like a lot of problems. The biggest problem I have is that my own family did that. Of course, we all know we have family that's corrupt in some cases, addicted in some cases. Imagine when it's the entire family, though, who ousts the person who's basically telling the truth. All that did was basically free me up to continue to tell the truth, share it in a variety of ways that maybe someone's going to hear, maybe not. But most importantly, gave me a chance to say, I've been over that for a long time. That doesn't mean that it hasn't happened and that it still couldn't be corrected. It just means I'm over it. So for all those people thinking I'm wallowing in it or my heart's hurt or something, not really worried about it. The only concern I have is that I've had mysterious problems that seem spiritual, especially if you've read the Bible. And I can't help but wonder if this fasting process has been the most necessary part for me personally to break that family, the generational curse. if nothing else, so far it's breaking the hereditarial curse. I don't think that's a word, but I used it anyway. Of high blood pressure. It's hereditary. That's what most people say. But it's not. It's because we eat the same things, we do the same things, we have the same sedentary type lifestyles. And that carries with us into old age unless we decide to change. We have to decide, and then we individually have to do something different about it. That's what I've been doing, and I've been having a heck of an amazing time. And I've been seeing quite the decline of wildlife at the same time. Just the truth. If there were any kind of other observers that would want to ride along and explore these situations with me, especially if they've come to these places before, I welcome it. As usual, though, again, I might not ever stop for the whole day for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The only thing we'll stop for is if we need to get gas, and that's only if we're doing a long drive day, which for me, I try to minimize those. But, you know, it's whatever's being dealt to me is basically what I'm doing. So for those of you watching the journey, you're watching it for a reason. Please share, please subscribe, please understand that I talk about a lot of concepts, and really they funnel down to this one singular issue. We either are accepting of the spirit of truth, or there's a big spirit of error, and it can't hear anything that's being said, and it'll never understand it, because the people who speak the truth don't make sense to the people who have the spirit of confusion. That's also the truth. Hope that you've learned a lot. Thanks again. Until next time, peace, love, and all that old school stuff.